Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I'm gonna touch on a subject I saw online on a wrestling forum. Uh, it keeps coming up why WCW is no longer. Well, that's been in the past. What was the demise of WCW? And a lot of people got it wrong. And guys, some guy that don't do their research, some dude talking about, well, Time Warner. No, it wasn't, but you left out an important factor. It wasn't just Time Warner that killed them. Because I researched it. See, that's the problem. You followers don't do research. I looked up. Here's two things. Here's two things you left out. Three things you left out. First of all, number one, Time Warner didn't want anything to do with them. But that's not the reason why they ended up becoming nothing. Time Warner didn't want nothing to do with the pro wrestling business. They didn't want to tackle it. Number two that you failed to mention is WCW no longer had a television contract. That means TNT, TBS, since AOL Time Warner merged, TBS, TNT, they were going to no longer be on TV. That's the third thing. For them to stay afloat, they would have to secure a network. Number four, their debt. I did not know that WCW was in that much debt. Their debt was ridiculous. The numbers that they put up, go research why did WCW go out of business. They were no longer making money. And there's a reason for that. Number five, look at the astronomical salaries that a lot of those pro wrestlers made, and some of them hardly were on TV. You had guys sitting at home. You have a name brand that's worth nothing. You have guys sitting at home and they're getting paid. They getting paid not to work. Their market value was nothing. WCW was in debt. Went in debt. How did WCW get in so much debt? Now here's my final. Number five. You know who I blame? Who was in charge? You know who was in charge? Eric Bischoff. That's right. Yeah, I'm calling him out. And I'm going to keep calling him out. I don't give a rat's ass what Vince Russo go and holler, bro this and bro that. I ultimately blame who was in charge of that motherfucking ship. Eric Bischoff. He was in charge. He's the boss. Pardon my French. He's the fucking boss. He's the fucking boss. Finance-wise, you make cuts. You restructure. Manage. Eric Bischoff. Now, as far as you talking about the end of story, no, that's my end of story. I blame Eric Bischoff. He was in charge. You the captain of the ship. Money-wise, contracts, that shit have to go through you. You alone. According to sources, he could sign and fire. He can hire and fire. It was Eric Bischoff. I blame him. How did the debt ceiling get so high? How did WCW's debt ceiling get to that ridiculous amount of money? From what I saw, look this stuff up, people. Go look this stuff up. How did their debt ceiling end up being millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars? Why didn't Eric Bischoff and his staff secure WCW a television deal? Secure them contracts where they could start bringing in money. Endorsements. They no longer had a TV deal. Who was running the ship? To all you people that want to run your mouths, I've been looking at wrestling for 40 years. Who was in charge? That's who I blame. The man that was running that shit, Eric Bischoff. They were spending money like drunken sailors, and you ain't making no money. You in the red. You constantly putting out money, but you ain't bringing in money. Explain it. Somebody explain it. How can you not blame Eric Bischoff for them being in so much debt? Huh? They no longer had a TV. They no longer had a TV deal. If Time Warner said, look, they could have had a meeting, emergency board meeting. Look, Time Warner, y'all don't want nothing to do with this. Y'all don't want nothing to do with this company. Give me, you got full control. If I get a television deal, if I can secure a television network deal, what do you all want to do? If Time Warner say no, then it want to be sold, then you know what? Actually, you can't blame them. But I blame Eric Bischoff, the debt. How did they get in so much debt? Somebody was spending. Somebody was spending money. Excuse me. Hello. Whether Time Warner didn't want nothing else to do with them or not, how did they get in so much debt? Time Warner didn't care. That's why they gave WCW to Vince McMahon for pennies to the dollar. It was no longer worth anything. The brand was no longer worth anything, and it was a sad day. It was pathetic. But this is what can happen. You are never too big to fail. And you know what could happen? You keep thinking it can't happen. WWE could end up disappearing. WWE logo, all that shit could end up being no more. Let them keep doing what they doing. It's always a bigger fish. It's always a bigger fish in the pond. Peace, I'm out. Do your research.